Stay Black in America. That's my YouTube channel. Boy, I'm looking at some exciting fights from this this UFC light heavyweight champion, this Alex Pereira from Brazil. So I'm trying to look at these fights he got it, these knockout fights he got it. I'm gonna try to figure out how he's going to do in this upcoming UFC 307 on Saturday.
Alex Pereira is literally the scariest striker on earth.
This man right here is the hardest hitting kickboxer of our generation.
Truly one of the most terrifying human beings alive.
Bad motherfucker.
He hits people and it doesn't even make sense. But he hits them, it's like he's a heavyweight and they're a lightweight. I'm telling you, he's got fucking freaky power.
Is this the best striker on the planet? Yeah, I agree. It has to be.
But Pereira doesn't just have freaky power. He also picks his shots wisely.
Just calculated, smart, patient, and set everything up, and that's what makes this beautiful. The way he stays so calm, even when he gets hit, his face doesn't change. He sets up everything.
This kickboxing monster has the scariest power in all weight divisions.
Wow, look at that.
And yes, even when you include Francis Ngannou. He hits so hard that most of his fights look like absolute mismatches, and they're all the best in the world.
Knowing
As soon as he touches them, they get sent flying. Sometimes, it looks like he's just toying with his opponents.
Pereira looks like he's just toying right now.
In his amateur career, he had 25 wins, with all 25 by knockout.
Can Pereira close the show?
As soon as he enters the ring, he flattens them. Sometimes, he literally sends them out of the ring. When his opponents hit him, however, it's like he's made out of titanium, with absolutely no effect on him. You see, in Brazil's native Tupi language, Po means hand, and Atan means being like stone. Pereira's nickname, Poatan, literally means stone hand, and his left hand is marked by a tattooed collection of rocks and pebbles. It's no wonder that with godlike power, he is the only man who knocked out the great UFC champion who often enters God mode, the one and only Israel Adesanya.
I hit this mode called God mode where I just feel like this guy can't touch me.
There's this guy, Alex Pereira, but he's the only guy, the knockout style bender. And then he finally made his UFC debut, and I was so excited. This guy has this freakish, disproportionate power where it doesn't make any sense.
Put up the style bender.
Pereira looking to make history here.
Fight fans, in this video we pleasure you to all of Poatan's stone cold knockouts.
Wow! Alex Pereira! My goodness! He's done it! He has done it!
What are you made out of? Like, everybody goes unconscious.
Poatan Pereira! That's that completeness!
Before we begin going into each fight, it's important to understand the evolution of Alex Pereira. Pereira began his fighting career as a boxer who transitioned into kickboxing. Initially, he kept his hands much higher with a focus on fundamentals. However, over time, he created his own unique style. Not only did he dramatically lower his guard, he increased the amount of pressure he gave his opponents. Many of his opponents thought that he could only punch, that he is a boxer rather than a kickboxer.
Pereira may be the best boxer in all of glory.
Wilner said Pereira isn't a real kickboxer.
He doesn't believe that Pereira is a true kickboxer. Says he's just a boxer that's doing kickboxing.
His fight metric shows that he punches 75% of the time, with the rest equally distributed with kicks and knees. But this doesn't tell the story of how well-rounded he is. Pereira has been able to knock down many of his opponents with his knees and kicks. Where he lacks in defense, he more than makes up for it by being made out of titanium. And as many legendary fighters have said, the best defense is great offense. That is certainly true in the case of Poatan, and we explore the evolution of his brilliant knockouts starting from the newest to the oldest. Alex Pereira versus Ertuğrul Bayrak. To defend the Glory middleweight belt, he comes out hands down, pressuring forward immediately, patiently waiting for his opponent to strike first. When Pereira finds an opportunity, he will release a combination, and when he does, Bayrak is all shelled up. Pereira uses the left kick to score and then invite attacks, and when the opponent attacks, he will reply with big right hands and left hooks. Here, as Bayrak's inside low kick comes in, Pereira rocks in with a left hook. Throughout this fight, we do see how hittable Pereira is. When the shots land, however, he is like titanium and doesn't get hurt. Pereira, of course, isn't always defenseless. He uses the Philly shell and the elbow guard to deflect shots. Once he hurts the opponent, Pereira continues stalking on a panicking and shelled up Bayrak. If Bayrak has his guard up, Pereira will pull down that guard for a right hook. As the fight went on, it looked like Pereira was just toying with his opponent.
Toying with Bayrak right now.
Even when the opponent's guard is up, his hooks still rock the opponent.
It has been a dominating round for Pereira.
Right on the bell, Pereira lands a perfect cross into the body, followed by a left hook to the head.
No, his nose is already bleeding. Left hook!
The opponent's hands were up by his jaw, but it didn't matter. Bayrak was not in position to guard the chin, and the left hook landed flush. This is Pereira's signature left hook, punching the chin as the opponent defends the jaw. We will call this the Pereira hook, one that he's landed countless times against world-class opponents.
He's Pereira, he's the truth.
Alex Pereira versus Donaghy Abena.
Wow.
This fight has some good drama around it. Sadly mistaken, Abena thought he was too big, too strong, and too good for Poatan.
We asked Donaghy Abena why he would win this fight. He said, I'm too big, I'm too strong, and I'm too good.
Abena wouldn't step back against Pereira when the referee told him to step back. He stuck his hand out to touch gloves, but got overhanded by Pereira right away to start the fight. Pereira showed his vulnerability to low kicks due to his bladed boxing stance in this fight. He also knees with his hands down, coming in tall. This made him eat the left hook multiple times. Abena did particularly well when he let Pereira strike first and then counter. But eventually, Pereira lands a beautiful cross into left uppercut which rocks Abena. Then he would follow up with a combination spree into a knee to land the knockdown.
Left hook, Abena eats a knee now, trying to hold on. Can Poatan put him down? And that is a knockdown for Pereira.
Abena tries to come back swinging, but Pereira lands a final left hook to end the night. By winning this fight in such spectacular fashion, Poatan became the first Glory champion to win the belt in 2 weight classes.
He has done it! Glory's first ever 2-division simultaneous world champion! The best pound-for-pound fighter in the world today. I'm gonna have to say yes right now. Can anyone stop that man?
Alex Pereira versus Jason Wilness. Before the fight, Wilness said Pereira isn't a real kickboxer.
He doesn't believe that Pereira is a true kickboxer. Says he's just a boxer that's doing kickboxing. Pereira, rather, his career began as a boxer, was very successful, but fell in love with kickboxing.
So Pereira came out much flashier than usual with kickboxing moves.
Nice body kick to start things, and a spinning shot.
Initially, Wilness was able to punish the legs well. But then when Wilness went for another low kick, Pereira countered with a high kick and landed flush.
Oh, high kick! Wow!
Wilness had his hands up, but it didn't matter. Like many of Pereira's left hooks, the high kick lands inside the opponent's guard. To finish his longtime rival, he throws a jumping knee. Wilness, the fighter who had beaten Pereira twice much earlier in his career, ate his words hard here.
One of the best knockout performances I have ever seen in my 3 years here at Glory.
Getting finished in such dramatic fashion with signature kickboxing attacks must be humiliating after calling Pereira a boxer.
Your child needs these 3 key factors to get into an Ivy League or top 25 university. And it's not having a good GPA or SAT score. Let me explain. 90%.
Alex Pereira versus Yusri Belgari 3. Belgari is another fighter that had beaten Pereira before. In this fight, you can see why. Belgari is ruthless. Even when he nutshots Pereira, he'll continue attacking. He is also very sharp with his jabs and crosses. However, most of Pereira's opponents make the mistake of leading with big rear shots without a setup. such as the overhand or the right hook. And that's when Pereira does his best work, when the opponent rushes in with an overhand. To counter the overhand, he just simply throws a better one. Pereira puts his head just outside of position to not be hit during the overhand and gets there first. In this fight, we got to see Pereira very strategic. He doesn't throw everything with power. Just when the opponent thinks he's safe to attack, he reveals his ace card.
Rico, that would have put down almost every man in your division as well.
That would put down every single man on the planet. It was so well timed. He moved to the side, throw that right hand, nobody could stop it.
Alex Pereira versus Yusri Belgari 2. This fight also had some drama, with Pereira hitting his opponent after the bell, prompting a charge. Luckily, the ref is a gangster and stops it, and the opponent calmed down after being splashed by water. In the beginning of this fight, Pereira came out with his guard very low, which exposes him to the high kick right away. We really saw some of his defensive holes when he backs up in a straight line, and is pressured by a logical combination. Belgari was able to land counter shots over and over again, as long as he got Pereira to lead first. Throughout this fight, Pereira was getting outlanded 2-1, but in any moment where he might look in trouble, his money shot left hook gets him out of trouble in any situation.
You got to attack him.
Going for the right knee against Pereira is also dangerous as he's looking to time the overhand.
Wussy person, you gotta attack him with power.
But despite some nice moments, he was down 2 rounds in this fight.
Who do you think he is?
If Belgari had just kept scoring with clean long-range shots, his odds of winning this fight was very high. Instead, he decided to throw an overhand against Pereira and got hit by an overhand first again here. With an overhand and a knee combination landing flush and a deep cut, the ref ends the fight.
And it's over. Instantly, the doctor says no. It's done.
Alex Pereira versus Maicon Silva.
Wow. Look at this one here.
In this fight, Pereira showed us how effective his left hook is against the southpaw. Pereira looked unstoppable in this fight, landing anything he wants to at will. When he throws a right knee, he gets hit with a left hook, but then comes back with his own left hook and sleeps this opponent. The power of this left hook was aided by how the opponent was also throwing his right hook at the same time. Alex Pereira versus Bareem Rama. Rama was a rapper with a #1 hit song on iTunes. He had never been knocked down before, but he was moving up in weight class and just looked small compared to Pereira. Throughout the fight, he was getting pressured and then getting slammed with right knees and left hooks. Once again, Pereira sneaks in the left hook through the opponent's guard that was protecting the jaw instead of the chin. When Rama was rocked and protecting the chin, he goes to the jaw. He continues to apply pressure until the knockdown was achieved.
The verge of getting knocked out if he doesn't.
Oh, that knee may have done it.
It was a ferocious rear teep into overhand, followed by a left hook and knee to the head as the opponent panicked. Even the camera guy was wincing. Pereira finishes this fight by slamming whatever he wanted into the opponent. Eventually, 3 knockdowns were achieved to call off the fight.
What a performance by the Brazilian Alex Pereira.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya 2.
Big fight here, big fight.
In what's been the most iconic fight of Pereira's career, he was able to achieve what no other man has been able to do: knock out Israel Adesanya. The details of exactly what happened in this fight will be broken down and explained in a few days, but in short, this fight was absolutely epic. Adesanya was dominating the fight and close to finishing Pereira in the second round. But Pereira comes back in the third round and lands his signature left hook again. As Adesanya charged with a big left hand in southpaw, Pereira lands the left hook that hits the jaw, again bypassing the guard protecting the chin.
Yes, it is.
Alex Pereira versus Junior Alpha. This was an action-packed fight. In this fight, we saw how effective the right knee of Pereira is. We also saw that if the opponent shells up against Pereira, his offense will simply make them crumble. From pull-down right hooks and combination punching, he showed us how to use high-level boxing in the kickboxing arena. If the opponent is all shelled up, he will use the left jumping knee. To finish the fight, Pereira used the lead uppercut to the right hook.
Small, man. You know, when you crab up like that, it just
Alex Pereira
opens season
versus
for your
Dustin
body.
Jacoby.
Just punish the body. Wow.
Against Dustin Jacoby, who is now a UFC light heavyweight prospect, Pereira came out with a high guard. The earlier we went into Pereira's career, the more we saw a traditional guard. His boxing, as always, was sharp here. When Jacoby threw the jab, Pereira slips while throwing his signature left hook, landing again on the chin while the opponent protects the jaw. He was able to do this twice in a row. Eventually he corners Jacoby and then chains a right knee into left hook to finish the fight.
Wow, look at that. That left is constantly
There's a rhythm in the markets, and if you want to learn to listen for it, we'll show you how.
Alex Pereira versus Matias Adaro. In this fight, Pereira was still unrefined as a kickboxer. He was losing the fight until he lands a stiff jab. However, his right knee was already quite developed, and he spears the opponent as he jabbed and loaded his overhand. When they reset, the same thing happens again.
The knees in the stomach was enough.
Throughout the fight, they brawled it out until Pereira finishes it with a right knee, followed by a 1-2-3 combination.
Mercy me, what y'all getting paid to get beat up like this? Wow.
Alex Pereira versus Marcelo Cruz. In this MMA fight, Pereira launches an overhand over the opponent's jab and rocks him. Then he easily combinations up and finishes the fight.
This guy was done.
Alex Pereira versus Simon Marcus 2. This wasn't a knockout, but Pereira hurt the great Muay Thai and kickboxing champion Simon Marcus in their second fight. Against Marcus's feinting jab, he throws an overhand that hit Marcus clean. When Marcus backed out of the clinch, Pereira hits a beautiful combination. It was a perfect chain of a rear uppercut into a left hook and then a right knee to the head. And as Marcus backed out again, he ate a left head kick. The head kick was set up by a left hook that Marcus was trying to evade. As Marcus bit down on his shield and started swinging, Pereira again ducked out to the left and loaded his signature left hook to drop Marcus.
And now Simon Marcus, and he got caught with a left hook. What a big bomb.
Look at that.